Hi friends, my name's Kiera. I am a teacher in the First Steps room at the Goddard School in Wexford. And today I want to talk to you guys about what ASL signs, American Sign Language signs, we can be using at home and at school for infants and early toddlers. Sign language is something that I really like to implement a lot in my classroom. It has been shown in a number of studies that it is extremely helpful in the development of communication. As the earlier you start, the better they are with developing their language. So something that I found is that the best way to reinforce infants and early toddlers how to sign is by using food. And so a lot of the signs that we use are food motivated. The first being the word more. So you just take your fingers together like this and you say more. I always have them do it before I give them anything else. I just give them little bits of food at a time and ask them to say more in between giving them food. And a lot of the time, you will really have to kind of do it for them. So you'll need to take their hands together. Sometimes it might look like a clap, sometimes it might look different, but you'll definitely have to show them how to in order to reinforce it. And it takes a long time, so just be patient. But this is something that is really important. It teaches them patience and it teaches them manners. It is definitely more developed in the First Steps room, but can definitely be started with infants as well. And just as a note in regards to the word more in sign language, you don't necessarily just have to use it with food. So that's the easiest way to teach them and to reinforce them how to use it. But a lot of the time I found in the infant or in the First Steps classroom that this is a great way for them to say again, or do that again, or I want to play again, or I want more of that. And so you can ask them to say, well, what do you say? And they'll ask for more, please. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be about food. It can also be how they play, what they want to play with, who they want to play with, and what they want to do. This just kind of helps them figure out how to use that word in other ways other than food. And additionally, if your child is verbally developed, if they're really trying to speak and say words, something that I have found works is showing them the sign and not necessarily making them do it, but having them understand that these two words go together, that this is the same as saying more. I show them how to do it, but I also point at my mouth and I have them look at my mouth and how I say the word. And I say it slowly. So I'll say, look, more. And I have them try to repeat what my lips are doing so that they can understand how their mouth is supposed to form the word. And you could do this with other words. That's just something that I like to do specifically with that word because we use that one a lot. But yeah, just having them physically see what your mouth is doing in slow motion can help them verbally start to learn how to form those words. The second word that, or the second sign that I really like to use during meal times is all done, all done. And for them that might look like this, it might look like this, it could look a little bit different for each kid, and even, taking their hands and showing them how to do it, shaking them for it, making it a little game. But again, it just reinforces them to use their words, to use their language to the capacity that they have, and to say, I'm all done eating, I'm all done. Another word that I really like to use is please. And so it looks like this, please. A lot of the time, especially in the First Steps room, we ask them to say more, please. And so that's combining both of the signs together. And you'd be surprised how quickly they catch on to doing both of the signs together. Again, it just takes a couple times of reinforcement of placing their hand on their chest and rubbing it around for them and continuously saying, please, please, so that they can connect those words together with the movement. Another thing that I like to teach them is to just how to ask for their water or for their milk. And so water is the letter W, and then you just take it to your chin. Water. That's water. And so we ask our kids to say, hey, what do you want? What do you want? And they'll say, water. Sometimes they'll even say, wah-wah. It might be different, again, for every kid. So just being able to understand their versions of their signs is important. But again, that's this is water. And it teaches them, how to ask for things and to use their words. Along the same lines, we use milk, which is you just taking your hand like this and squeezing it together. And that's milk. Along the same lines, I do like to teach my kids how to say thank you. And so how you do that is by taking your hand here up by your mouth and just bringing it down. And that's thank you. This one's a little bit harder for them to catch on, but if they see it reinforced at school and at home, it makes it a little bit easier. Additionally, this is where I also like to teach them how to say help. So that looks like this. So they take their hand here and they place their other hand on top with their thumb sticking up. So it looks like this. This is the word help. It's a little bit more difficult. So again, their versions of the signs, you'll just need to be able to understand what they're trying to say. This one is also a little bit harder to reinforce because it's not with food. But if they're continuously seeing this, they'll be able to ask for help with something if they can't reach, if they're having a hard time picking something up. I definitely have been trying a lot in the First Steps room to utilize this word. Our kids seem to get frustrated sometimes when they can't do exactly the thing that they're trying to do. And so instead of screaming or getting upset or, throwing their toys, I ask them to say help. And it's a work in progress, but again, definitely something that if they're seeing at home and at school, they might be using it more. And along those lines, I've also been teaching them how to say, and this is in the First Steps room, I've been teaching them how to say no, no thank you, no thank you, and then yes, please. So again, this is just reinforcing those manners, reinforcing them to say, to use their words to their capacity, to their, however they can. But just saying no, no thank you when they're doing something you don't want them to do, when they are getting frustrated about something, ask them to say no thank you, especially if they have siblings. This is really a nice way for them to use that language instead of, just yelling or becoming angry. This kind of gives them an out, I guess, in that way. And again, just saying yes, please. That's just a great use of their words and of their manners. So these are just some of the signs that I regularly use in our classroom in First Steps. I thought that it just might be a little bit helpful for some of our parents to see them and to kind of hear my explanation behind them and just to understand what their kids are saying at home if they are signing the words that they have learned at school. So I just wanted to provide you with these resources to continue that. It's really important for their cognitive development, of their language skills, and especially for some of my kids that I know aren't extremely verbal right now, sign language can be a great resource for them to be able to communicate effectively with their parents. I know it can be frustrating to not understand what they're saying, and so using sign language and trying to reinforce that at home can really help alleviate some of that frustration for them. And I think that we might even see if your kid is having a lot of issues, or at least having some issues at home with maybe behavior, throwing tantrums, maybe by implementing some of these signs at home, it might alleviate some of that frustration that they're feeling, because they'll be able to communicate with you a little bit better. So yeah, this is just kind of what I had to give for you right now. I hope that you guys are staying safe and healthy. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our owner or our directors. They can certainly pass any messages along to me. And if you are interested in seeing more signs, I am more than happy to make another video of some signs that I know. This is definitely something that I find extremely important, and especially with early toddlers. So yeah, please stay safe and stay healthy and enjoy this time with your kids. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.